Have you ever walked into a room, spotted an older woman sitting quietly in the corner, maybe sipping her tea, smiling at something only she understands, and somehow, all eyes are drawn to her? No flashy outfit. No loud voice. Just presence. It makes you wonder, right? How does she do it? How does she carry herself with that kind of quiet power that pulls people in, especially men? Now I'm not talking about charm in your 20s or the kind of attraction that fades after a moment. I mean that rare, soul-deep magnetism, the kind that makes people lean in when you speak, that makes a man feel lucky just to be in your company. What if I told you it's not about wrinkle creams or losing 10 pounds? It's not even about trying to look younger. Because the truth is, the most captivating older women, the ones who make men go absolutely crazy, aren't trying at all. They've just learned a few things along the way, and more importantly, they've unlearned what doesn't matter. They've let go of the need to impress, and instead, they own their space. They walk into a room and don't shrink themselves. They don't beg for attention, but they command it. With grace. With wisdom. With laughter that carries a life's worth of stories. And if you're sitting there thinking, that couldn't be me anymore, oh, I'm here to tell you, you're wrong. Because age doesn't take away your magic, it deepens it. It refines it. It polishes it like an old stone, less flashy, more real. And real is exactly what men crave more than ever. In this video, we're diving into 5 powerful things older women do that make men go absolutely crazy, in the best way. And no, it's not about being seductive. It's not about being perfect. It's about being grounded, joyful, full of purpose, and completely unapologetic about who you are. By the time we're done, you'll not only know these 5 traits, you'll know how to bring them into your life, starting today. So stay with me. Get comfortable. And while you're here, drop a comment below that says, "Still got it," because deep down, you know you do. And if you want more real, honest conversations about thriving in your golden years, don't forget to subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Guide, where age comes with power, not limits. Let's dive in. Let's start with something that's rare, and yet, so deeply powerful in a woman: emotional maturity. Now, that might not sound sexy at first. But let me tell you, in a world full of noise, unpredictability, and emotional chaos, emotional maturity is like a warm fire on a cold night. Take Linda, for example. She's 68. Lives in a quiet part of Ohio. Her husband passed away a few years back. And when she finally felt ready to date again, she did it with grace. No pretending. No games. No fishing for compliments or testing boundaries. She went on a coffee date with a man named George, retired, thoughtful, a little nervous. And when he asked about her past, she told the truth. Softly, clearly, but without shame. She didn't sugarcoat anything. She didn't dodge the hard parts. And here's what happened: George leaned in. Not just physically, but emotionally. He told her later, "Linda, I've never felt so safe talking to someone before." You see, that's the secret. Men, especially older men, aren't looking for drama. They're not chasing unpredictability. At this stage in life, they want peace. They want to feel like they can breathe in your presence. And that kind of calm, that inner peace, only comes with time. It comes from living through heartbreak and healing. It comes from raising children, burying parents, fighting battles no one saw, and walking away with your softness still intact. Now here's the thing: some older women still believe they have to perform. That being direct will scare a man away. That they need to play hard to get or hide their truth behind clever lines. But the truth is, when you own your emotions, when you can say, "I felt hurt, and here's why," or "I need some time to think, but I care," you show strength, not weakness. So don't apologize for being grounded. Don't shrink when your truth rises. Don't twist yourself to make someone stay. Because the right kind of man? The man who's worthy of your energy? He'll be drawn to your stillness like a moth to a flame. But emotional maturity isn't the only magnet. Some women have another quality that draws men in without a word. It's subtler, quieter, and far more powerful than most realize. Let's talk about mystery. There's something about a woman who doesn't reveal everything all at once. She's warm, approachable, yet somehow, she keeps you leaning in, wondering just a little more about who she is. Let me tell you about Cynthia. She's a 72-year-old retired English teacher from a small town in Michigan. Sharp as a tack, always put together. But never flashy. When she meets someone new, whether it's a neighbor, a friend of a friend, or someone she might want to get to know on a deeper level, she doesn't rush. She smiles. She listens. She watches how they move, what they say. And when she speaks, it's thoughtful, intentional. Now here's the thing, Cynthia doesn't hide who she is. She's not secretive or aloof. But she doesn't pour out her whole life story over one cup of coffee either. She holds something back. Not to be mysterious on purpose, but because she understands something many people forget. Curiosity is magnetic. When we reveal ourselves in layers, we let connection build naturally. And that process, that slow uncovering, it creates a kind of emotional tension that draws people in. You see, our brains are wired for novelty. When something is slightly out of reach, when there's more to discover, we release dopamine. That's the same reward chemical that kicks in during excitement, affection, and bonding. So when you share just enough to spark interest, and then pause, you're not being distant. You're inviting someone to show up and invest in the unfolding of your story. Now here's where some folks get it wrong. They think that if a man's interested, they need to get everything out in the open. They rush to explain every past relationship, every heartbreak, every detail, hoping it proves honesty. But here's the truth. Oversharing too soon doesn't build closeness, it overwhelms it. It removes the beautiful process of discovery. It denies both of you the gift of slowly building a bridge of trust. Instead, try this, on that first or second date, or even when reconnecting with your partner of many years, focus more on the moment. Smile. Ask questions. Share one meaningful story, not 10. And let him earn your deeper layers. Because your story isn't a sales pitch. It's a treasure. And treasures aren't dumped out all at once. They're uncovered, piece by those who are willing to stay curious. And believe me, the right person will love that about you. Not because you're hiding, but because you're respecting your own depth. Now, while mystery is what draws a man in, what makes him stay, what keeps the connection grounded and full of admiration, is something far deeper. It's not about how you speak, or how much you reveal. It's about how you live. Let's talk about purpose. You know what's truly magnetic? A woman who wakes up in the morning and knows why she's getting out of bed. Not for anyone else, not to impress, not to chase, but because there's something she's here to do. Let me introduce you to Deborah. She's 73. Lives in a small town in Virginia. And if you ask her what she does with her time, she won't say, "Oh, I'm retired." No. Deborah says, "I grow food for my neighbors, and I help folks find warmth in the cold." Every week, she's tending a community garden she helped build from the ground up. And twice a month, she's at the shelter downtown, offering warm meals and warmer smiles. Now, is it the gardening that draws people to her? Is it the volunteering itself that gets her noticed? Not exactly. What draws men, what draws everyone, really, is that Deborah has a reason to be alive that's bigger than herself. She's lit from within. She doesn't wait for someone to give her joy. She creates it. And that kind of energy? That's magnetic in a way no makeup or dress could ever be. You see, having purpose gives you something most people don't even realize they're searching for: vibrance. When you have a goal, a cause, a project, even a small one, your eyes shine differently. You walk with more intent. You smile from somewhere deeper. And whether you're 63 or 83, that energy is attractive. Now here's where a lot of women fall into a trap. They start thinking, if I could just meet the right person, then I'd feel happy again. If only I wasn't alone, I'd feel motivated. But waiting for someone to spark your joy is a dangerous game. Because real connection? It comes after you've already lit that flame in yourself. So what does this mean for you? It means you don't have to start a non-profit or write a book to feel purposeful. Start small. Maybe it's baking for your church group. Maybe it's mentoring a younger woman who's trying to raise her kids. Maybe it's just committing to a daily walk where you pick up litter in your neighborhood. Whatever it is, do it with intention. Because when you have something that fills your heart, something that pulls you forward, you become the kind of woman people want to be around. And yes, the kind of woman men admire deeply. But don't get me wrong. Living with purpose doesn't mean you're serious all the time. In fact, the most unforgettable women I've ever met. They carry their purpose and their playfulness like a perfect pair of shoes. And that brings us to something we often overlook, but it might just be one of the most powerful traits of all: laughter. You ever meet someone who just lights up a room, not because they're loud or dramatic, but because they know how to laugh at life? That's Helen. She's 66, a grandmother from North Carolina, and let me tell you, she tells the best stories. But not the kind that make her look perfect. Oh no. Helen's favorite stories are the ones where she trips in the grocery store, or mixes up her grandson's name with the dog's. She pokes fun at herself, chuckles at the past, and shrugs off the little things that don't matter. And the result? People love being around her. Men, women, kids, doesn't matter. She's a magnet. Because her humor isn't just funny, it's comforting. You see, when you reach a certain age, you've earned the right to stop taking everything so seriously. You've been through enough to know that life throws curveballs, plans fall apart, and sometimes you just have to laugh to keep from crying. And that laugh? It's medicine. Laughter literally lowers your stress. It reduces cortisol, that nasty hormone that makes you feel anxious and tight. And it boosts oxytocin, the hormone that helps us bond with other people. So when you laugh, especially with someone else, you're not just having fun, you're building connection. Now, there's this myth out there that humor fades with age. That older women should be more dignified, more quiet, more reserved. But I'll tell you the truth, humor in older women? It hits different. It's not silly, it's seasoned. It's full of wisdom, irony, and those little truths that only someone who's lived a full life can joke about. So don't hold it back. Don't wait for permission to laugh at the awkward, the unexpected, the downright ridiculous. Share those funny memories. The ones that make you snort when you retell them. Be the woman who brings joy, not judgment. Because joy is contagious. And laughter? That's what people remember. And let's be honest, nobody falls in love with someone who makes them feel tense. They fall in love with the one who makes them feel free to breathe. To exhale. To be human. And finally, we've talked about emotional maturity, the pull of mystery, the power of purpose, and the gift of laughter. But there's one more thing. One that's harder to define, but impossible to ignore. It has nothing to do with how loud you speak, and everything to do with how fully you show up. Let's talk about presence. Let me tell you about Gloria. She's 70 years old, silver hair brushed back in a neat bun, always dressed with simple elegance. And when she walks into a room, she doesn't need to announce herself. She doesn't fill the air with noise or rush to impress anyone. She just is. She moves with intention. She speaks slowly, with the kind of pause that makes people lean in. She holds eye contact, not to challenge you, but to let you know she sees you, fully. And somehow, in that quiet confidence, Gloria owns the space. Now, that's what we call presence. It's not forced. It's not loud. It's not something you can fake with flashy clothes or a polished smile. Presence is felt. It's when you've lived long enough to know you don't have to chase attention anymore. You don't have to be the loudest voice, or the most decorated in the room, to be noticed. In fact, the older women who truly captivate, are the ones who show up exactly as they are, wrinkles, wisdom, and all, and make no apologies for it. They don't shrink when someone younger walks in. They don't soften their voice to make others comfortable. And they definitely don't second-guess the space they take up. But here's the mistake I see far too often. So many women, beautiful, brilliant, seasoned women, try to dim themselves. They hunch their shoulders. They laugh quietly. They say things like, "Oh, I'm too old for that," or "I don't want to be a bother." And I want to grab them by the hands and say, stop apologizing for being fully you. You've earned every scar, every lesson, every ounce of your presence. You don't owe anyone smallerness. Confidence isn't about being loud. It's about knowing you belong. And that kind of knowing, that deep, soul-settled awareness, it makes people listen when you speak, even when you say very little. So the next time you're at a dinner, or in a group, or even just walking into a store, sit tall. Lift your chin just a bit higher. Speak with intention, even if it's just one sentence. Let your silence be full of meaning. Wear what makes you feel powerful, not to impress, but to honor yourself. Because when you own your space, you remind others how to respect it. And let me tell you, that kind of presence, it drives the right kind of man absolutely crazy. Not because you're trying, but because you're radiating something that can't be faked, self-respect. And that, my friend, is the final, and perhaps most important, secret. Now, let's take a moment, and bring it all together. Because the emotional journey doesn't end here. In fact, it's just beginning. Let's pause here, just for a moment. Because this isn't just a list of tips. It's not just about what makes men look twice. It's about something much deeper, something many women don't hear often enough. Aging can feel like fading. Like becoming invisible. Like stepping off the stage while the spotlight moves to someone younger. But here's the truth, aging isn't fading. It's blooming. Every laugh line you wear, that's a moment of joy remembered. Every wrinkle, a story etched by time. Every scar, emotional or physical, is a quiet proof that you survived. That you lived. That you loved. You don't need permission to shine anymore. Not from a man, not from society, not even from the version of you that once doubted her worth. You are not less. You are more. More grounded. More powerful. More whole. This moment in your life, right now, isn't the leftover chapter. It's not what's left behind. It's the main story. The one where you finally stop asking who you should be, and you just are. And you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to compete. You don't need to bend yourself into shapes that don't fit your soul anymore. You've always been desirable. Not despite your age. But because of it. Because wisdom is attractive. Because peace is magnetic. Because a woman who knows who she is, truly, is the most captivating force on earth. So here's what I want you to do. Don't try to change everything overnight. Just pick one thing from today. Stand taller when you walk into a room. Let yourself laugh louder than you usually would. Speak the truth you've been holding back. Or take that first little step towards something that makes you feel alive again. You don't need all 5 traits tomorrow. You just need one moment of choosing yourself, again and again, until it becomes your rhythm. And if no one's told you this in a while, let me say it plainly, you are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Because being an older woman isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of the most unapologetic, unfiltered, radiant chapter yet. And it's one the world needs now more than ever. Let's take a breath together, and gently bring this full circle. We've just walked through 5 powerful traits that make older women not just attractive, but unforgettable. So let's recap, nice and slow. Emotional maturity, the strength to be calm in the chaos, and clear in your truth. Mystery, not as a mask, but as a quiet invitation to be discovered. Purpose. Because a life filled with meaning radiates energy that words can't capture. Humor, that beautiful, contagious joy that says, I've seen a lot, and I'm still smiling. And finally, presence, the unshakable power of a woman who knows she belongs wherever she stands. These 5 things? They're not tricks. They're not for show. They're the natural glow of a life lived fully, and a soul that no longer shrinks. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 5 traits do you see in yourself? Is there one you've embraced? Or maybe one you're still growing into, slowly and surely? Drop it in the comments below. Let's talk about it, because this space isn't just a channel, it's a community. And your voice matters here. If today's message touched something in your heart, if it made you nod, or smile, or even tear up just a little, go ahead and give this video a like. It tells YouTube to share this kind of wisdom with more women like you, women who deserve to hear it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Guide. This is where we speak truth, honor our journey, and grow into our power, together. This is a space for seniors who are done hiding, and ready to thrive. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Really, thank you. Remember, your age is not a limitation. It's not something to conceal or overcome. It is your badge of brilliance. Wear it boldly. Live it fully. And I'll see you, radiant as ever, in the next video.